and welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Fara Sax. There's a lot going on in the community coming up that will honor our veterans, our first responders, that celebrates the 20th anniversary of 9/11. We all know where we were, but what we want to bring, what my guests want to bring is attention and compassion and awareness of what's going on to our first responders, our veterans that may be in trouble, who might need guidance, and to support them through this transition in their lives. So I'm going to take you first to a video that will set the stage of what's going to be happening in our city in a very near future of August 28th starting. Okay, what did we just see? Welcome, guests. I appreciate you coming. We are joined first by Matt Buckley. He is with the TopGun Fighter Foundation. We have Phil Kerrigan. He is with the Human Baton and co-creator, as well as Sean Rosario, who is the president of the Warrior Health Foundation. Thank you all for joining me. And set me up, what's going on, Matt, what we just saw and what you're doing and the foundation?
TopGun Fighter Foundation was started to bring awareness, really raise awareness to the absolute tragedy of veteran suicide. In the hour that we're going to be here today, one veteran will kill themselves. We estimate about one per hour. As Sean alluded to, we lost approximately 7,400 troops in combat since 9/11, and we've lost about 30,000 to suicide. I lost a groomsman in my wedding, Eric Swenson, Swede. He's a Marine Hornet pilot, a beautiful wife, 4 daughters, put a bullet in his head, and I just said, this has got to stop. So we started TopGun Fighter Foundation about a year ago to put the ladder down, to raise awareness for the issue, because when I let people know that statistic, they're usually shocked that one veteran per hour.
And off camera, I was really so surprised to hear this.
It's stunning. It really is. So TopGun Fighter Foundation is trying to raise awareness. I'm on the air side. I was an F-18 pilot for the United States Navy.
Tell us a little bit more about your background during that time.
Well, speaking of 9/11, the morning of 9/11, I was scheduled for my first flight as a pilot for American Airlines. So I was actually packing for my first trip when my wife came in and said, "Hey, you better come look at the TV." And a plane just hit the World Trade Center. I said, whatever, small airplane in bad weather. And she said, no, you better come take a look. Went out in the living room, looked at the TV, and there was a big smoking hole. It was a beautiful day, right? And as I'm going through my, mental aviation checklist of how that could have happened, the second plane hit. So I immediately knew we were under attack. So I raced into the bedroom, moved my American Airlines uniform out of the way that was hanging in plastic, and I grabbed my flight suit. And I think I broke the land speed record getting out to Naval Air Station Fort Worth. Got out there. As soon as I got out there, literally a couple cars behind me, they closed it and went to a threat con delta status, which was essentially a war footing. So me and another buddy made it out there to our squadron. And as we were getting called down and told our chief to get jets ready for combat, the Air Force guys next door called over. They flew F-16s. 4 of their pilots had made it out there. So we rushed over to their command post, and 2 Navy guys, 4 Air Force guys briefing to get airborne. The Pentagon got hit. So it was just absolutely surreal. So I went from potentially flying in an airliner that day to shooting one down, to maybe even shooting down a squadron mate. Most of the guys in my reserve squadron were airline pilots. So imagine being ordered to shoot down an airliner full of us, let alone one flown by your best friend. So it's a pretty surreal day.
It's probably, you just feel your carotid artery just going, and you just know it's a vocation. It became a vocation for you from one extreme to the next to being.
It was a blink of an eye. We just we knew to go out and execute, right? My commanding officer was flying. He was a Delta pilot, but we didn't wait for permission. We just knew we had to act and get airborne to protect the country. And then a week later, I got a photocopied letter from American Airlines that says, "Dear crew member, you're furloughed." So
thank heavens, right?
Well, losing your job in the blink of an eye kind of sucked. So we had to scramble. My wife was waiting tables at an Italian restaurant, so we lost the airline job. But that kind of put a new direction, right? 3,000 people dead in the blink of an eye. I had to stop feeling sorry for myself. So kind of picked myself up, started trading full time, and ended up going up to Chicago and helping run a multi-billion-dollar trading firm. So kind of transitioned to the financial space, and then decided to put the ladder down with a charity. But at TopGun Fighter Foundation, as a Hornet guy, I was dealing with bad guys at 30,000 feet. This guy's dealing with bad guys at 3 feet, 3 inches. So the TopGun Fighter Foundation, found great foundations like Sean's, the Warrior Health Foundation, who's helping the guys and the ladies on the ground who deal with operator syndrome. Which is just horrific, the traumatic brain injury, anxiety, depression. So we're flying formation with Sean and the Warrior Health Foundation, another foundation called Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions. And Sean's literally saving lives with his foundation and his approach to treatment with the operators.
Sean Rosario, thank you for coming. And you are the president of the Warrior Health Foundation. Tell me a little bit how this ties in with the TopGun Foundation.
Well, we're 3 years old now, Warrior Health Foundation, and we were approached, actually met Matt at another event 5 to 7 years ago. We can't quite pin it down, but we were at an event. He noticed I had a Seal Trident lapel pin on my jacket. He was wearing an aviator pin on his jacket. And, two Navy guys, a sailor can always spot a sailor from from afar. And we just started talking and we kept in touch. He formed TopGun Fighter Foundation, and we've just been, experiencing a great relationship ever since. They're huge, great supporters of the Warrior Health Foundation as well as other foundations. And it's just a pleasure to be working with them.
Tell me a little bit about the foundation and the outreach that you supplied to the community, to the veterans.
So we have found out through some journalistic studies that something called operator syndrome exists. And that's a result of the operators on the ground being exposed to repeated concussive blast wave. And I can speak from a personal experience of mine, whether it's internal or external explosive breaching charges, shoulder-fired rockets, crew-served weapons. These things all produce a concussive blast wave that eats right through you and keeps going. That eventually does damage to the pituitary gland, which is responsible for the release of growth hormone on your down cycle, typically when you sleep. If that's prohibited, then you have a deregulation of the hormonal balance throughout the body. And the symptoms that you see are, kind of like Matt said, depression, sleep cycle disruption, cognitive decline.
Because if you're not sleeping, you're off whack.
Right. It's just a snowball effect. Yeah. And instead of letting these guys go to the VA or their healthcare provider to drown their sorrows in some sort of prescribed opiate and a bottle of bourbon, we looked at it from a different angle and said, what if we optimize the vitamin and hormone levels to counter these symptoms that they're seeing? And that's exactly what we do.
Thank you. Phil Kerrigan, you are the co-creator of the Human Baton. So let's tie this in together.
Right. So the Human Baton is a new race franchise. It's designed to be a huge sporting event that brings everyone together through motorsports and exciting activities. But me being a veteran as well, I'm from the Royal Marine Commandos in the UK.
I thought you were from New York, actually.
Really? Yeah, sometimes I can just switch.
That accent, I can pick up another New Yorker. Like, you guys are compadres? I mean, it's me and Phil.
Yeah, and one of the parts of how we've designed this race is it's not just a big flashy race, which it will be when it's seen on screen, was how we wanted to bring different backgrounds into the teams. So it's not all about someone like McLaren or a big name brand. So what we've done is designed all veterans teams, serving military teams, all female teams, Gen Z teams, and they all get the ability at grassroots level to train to be on this big sporting stage and drive, be a part of teams in supercars, drift cars, rally cars. So with the veterans piece, this is how I met these great guys, and through the Veterans Trust, It's more about the opportunity to flip their skill set into sports and entertainment than a charity handout. We know what the skill sets you can get in every level of the military. And the way we looked at that side of our race was, an all veterans team, that's everyone from managers, PAs, drivers, human baton, marketing people. If they all come from the veteran space, the skills they bring to the table could match anything. Yeah. You've got pilots, you've got SEAL team guys, you've got receptionists, whatever it is. It's about giving them that opportunity. And that's a bit of a flip on how we're doing the charity side. The charity side is great, but they want to be able to use their skill sets and fit in as well, instead of just taking a handout. So we've used that approach in the sports and entertainment side. And the sport and entertainment side is huge and is going to be super entertaining.
And that's going to be on 9/11.
So what we've done with that, yes, is for 9/11 and with the Veterans Trust, it was one of our partners who helps give veterans experiences in sports, is we are creating a part of our race using 4 of our 6 sports, and we are using first responders as the athletes. So we've got fire rescue athletes, we've got police, military, and we're building a Patriot team, and they are going to actually do the race. And the idea on 9/11 is to take everyone in the community together and show them who's behind these uniforms. We're all a community.
So absolutely. And are these people local, or is
all
the
local.
Support team local?
Yeah, all local. Everything's to do with the area. We want to bring the community together in the area. We want to talk about 9/11 and how bad it obviously was, but how after 9/11 everyone came together. And the way we've done our race, it's about an experience of bringing people together as a team. So using the focus of first responders, that helps bring the community to these people who look after them all day, but see them in a different light. Who's that guy behind the uniform? No, that's Jason, the policeman, or whatever. But they get to have the exciting experience and still bond as a team. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a spin, but we're still using sport as the shiny object. And we just spin out, you get to look at it.
And what we just saw the video earlier was the ops room. This is the event before the big finale of 9/11. Who would like to speak about that, or what's going on August 28th in our community?
Yeah, so the Ops Room is one of the events we're running locally to raise money for the event and raise the money for the foundations.
So people in the community can outreach to you guys?
Yes.
And where would they reach out if they wanted to participate, get some more information, learn more?
So on the Veterans Trust website, we have a link to the Veterans Trust. The event is a tribute to American heroes. So there's a Veterans Trust / that, and all the information's on there. And they'll be able to find everything about the event. The pre-events, like the August 28th, is a very, very unique auction event that we're bringing people in to go into an experience that we don't want to say too much about, because part of the experience is actually how it unfolds that night. And it's to help raise money for the actual 9/11 event and bring them into some very unique situations with the likes of Matt in the fighter jet, which that's all I'll say on that one.
So in other words, that could be like James Bonda?
James Bonder is, I like it. Look,
you like that?
Straight on it.
You like that? Okay. I'm going to trademark that, okay? So tell me a little bit more about 9/11 and how that impacted your lives and brought you to this moment today. And it changed your trajectory, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was holding my son that morning when I watched the second plane hit. He was 8 months old or something like that. And he's 21. And he wants to go serve his country in the United States Marine Corps. He wants to fly for the Marines. Apparently, I dropped him on his head when he was a kid. He wants to be in the Marines. So it's really, it's an entire generation of kids, this post 9/11 group. So it really did. It changed the trajectory of my life. Wouldn't change a thing. It's been an interesting journey, but I definitely need to feel the need to put the ladder down and help the veterans out who serve. Like I said, I was up at 30,000 feet looking at bad guys. These folks down on the ground are just in a world of hurt. And I'm sure there's great and hardworking people at the VA, but it's a complete shit show. I mean, excuse my French.
Whoops.
The VA is, I'm a sailor, no offense.
And you're swearing like one too, huh?
You got it. The VA is starting to pay a lot more attention to the plight of veteran suicide, but they could do a lot better. The charities that we see in the United States that have sprung up to help these operators are doing better than our government can, which is kind of sad to say, but folks like Sean and I we're putting the throttle full forward to try try and help folks out and save lives.
And what do you see since 9/11? You're probably not even born, but
He's old enough to be my dad. Look at that
Well,
cat.
thank you for that.
I think I'm granddad here.
Exactly.
I remember 9/11 vividly. Actually, I had just finished selection and was a brand new member in a squadron of SEAL Team 6. And it was a beautiful day in Virginia Beach, and we were on what they call the Rogers Range, shooting rifle pistol drills on steel targets. And the controller, who was in an enclosed glass room, he stopped putting the targets up, and we were just like, dude, let's go. He comes running out, and he said, hey, there's been a plane that's hit the World Trade Center, and another plane hit the Pentagon. And he's like, there's still two planes in the air. You guys need to get back. We're like, oh, wow. So we get back, get to our big team room for our squadron, and, had a big screen TV. And I remember seeing the second plane hit. And I remember seeing the first tower come down. And me originally being growing up in New York, it was personal, So looking at that, we knew right away we were going to war. And at the same time, much like Matt said, I have two sons. They're now 21 and 13. But I remember thinking and saying to my friends, this war will not be over before our sons are of fighting age. And
so it is.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is an amazing service, amazing connection that our community can get involved with. Not only that, but also giving information and becoming aware of the troubles that are happening, and to honor our warriors, our heroes.
Mm-hmm. I think what's interesting as well for this event is, and going back to the younger age group, a lot of people, when they think and they see older guys stand up and talk about something in the war or 9/11 is 20 years old, right? There's people at the event. We've got a very big family friendly area. And the idea is to put a spin on this and educate them that their local responders that they see every day are part of this. And some joined up because of 9/11. Instead of it being that old, we're adding some, and without taking this the wrong way, some entertainment into shedding light on how people see it, instead of it, how it did bring everyone together. But you guys weren't born, but these guys joined because of it. Yeah. And there's a way to do that correctly, because there is lots of people. My kids are 13 and 12 and 14, and they weren't around, right? So they might be like, oh, it's dad telling another story.
Yeah, long ago,
right,
once upon a time.
Back in my day, when we had tea with milk, but the idea is to get them to see it from a different angle. But you still get the same message across. It's just, you've got to entertain people in different ways these days.
So now we're going to entertain them. So would you just set up what we're going to see, a next clip of what's to be?
Yeah, so the Human Baton is actually a race franchise.
I like how he says baton.
I do too.
And I know that the next people are going to.
I'm telling you, he's from New York. I'm telling you, I can hear it.
I can
East New York. Very far east.
Yeah. The village.
Yeah, that's where the Brits hang out, down in that bottom area. It's a race franchise, entertainment, impact entertainment, and we've brought 6 very high adrenaline sports together. And we're connecting it with one human being per team. They're called the Human Baton. There you go. And the teams work together to get their baton between the sports. And the idea is to take the audience into those seats, and anyone could be anyone. We can all live that space. Mm-hmm. So taking them into the multi-million-dollar world of motorsports, we're taking you inside instead of it being all about the flashy object on the outside. It's about the stories, the human stories, i.e. the human baton. So there you go. Plug that one, Dad.
So basically, this is funded by the event that's happening in the ops room before, and then they get this privilege to go into. Is that how that works?
Right. So the ops room is to lay some groundwork for people to get involved in the actual event and represent the first responders by bringing some of the assets they have and being part of the experience and race, but giving back to the community at the same time. So it's kind of a flip around.
Wonderful. So we're going to set this up, and when you're ready, Tommy, roll it.
We set out to create something that had never been seen before. A high-energy dream race for an audience ready for something more. adventure for athletes, heroes, villains, and fans.
Come on, Baton, come on!
Welcome to the Human Baton. So you've seen it all, but you haven't seen this. It is the next great adventure. A sporting event for this generation. It is the launch of the Human Baton, where every second counts. 30 teams will compete for 2 days to get their Human Baton across 500 square miles of racecourse. It is the ultimate super sport relay race where the Human Baton, a live person, is passed along the race route, from the air to land and sea. This is a James Bond-style relay race across a continent, with over 200 vehicles, sponsors, raging fans, and drama. So join us, come along for the ride, because every second counts.
Wow. Wow. And wow, they've changed, right? We just didn't have enough room, so we just did like a little do-si-do, everybody changed. But wow, this is an amazing experience. So I have 3 other wonderful guests that are going to share the experience and how they have participated in the Human Baton. Steve Stevens, you are no stranger to these kind of experiences of action-packed. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing and how this connects to the Human Baton.
Oh, well, what we're doing here is we are working our way through the city of Fort Lauderdale, pending approval, of course, through their commission, to get an event called A Tribute to America's Heroes on the books. And with that, and I'll let Brett share the story on that. But the Human Baton is the big buildup to the big tribute.
I couldn't tell. And it's happening on the anniversary we just talked about of 9/11, 20 years. So tell me a little bit about your background, what you've done.
So you met Phil. Phil and I go way back. We've been working for a few years on a couple of different projects, but most recently, the Human Baton came to fore after working on the Ninja Warrior franchise and taking that event around the world. And some of our friends have worked with us on it in different forums. But it's the whole Ninja Warrior franchise where you're putting people against the obstacle course and getting them personal challenges to persevere. And we kind of thought, let's take that to the next level. Let's do our own thing that's going to bring people together in a whole different way. And from that, this was born. The Human Baton was born, which leads into the tribute. So there's different steps that built to where we're at today.
So this wasn't something that you just said, one night I'm just thinking about this, and the next day it says, this is like happening in a long, planned, thought out, methodical.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we wanted to create something, as the trailer said, that had never been seen before. And I think we were successful in putting together a super sport relay race where each leg of the race is tied together by the human being. And that human being, whether it be a he or she or your family member or a distant relative or a celebrity, could actually be the eyes and ears of the audience and tell a story from the inside. Because we feel like if you're telling a story from the inside, you're bringing community together and people together and they can relate to you. Just like when we saw the Olympics recently and you see the backstory of these athletes, you get to see a little bit about why they're doing what they do and you care more. And we thought if we can bring people inside of a sport adventure, of something that's going to change your life through an adventure type of a forum, that people would want to pay more attention to it. And so that led us into, let's create this thing we call now the Human Baton, but it had a lot of iterations, just like any plan that grows.
It was the Human Baton. I think it was probably before.
Yes. We're coaching him. I don't hold his tea bags until he says it right.
Sean Rosario, you are the president of the Warrior Health Foundation. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing and how that relates. I know he's not here. I'm sorry. Oh, God.
Mom said there would be days like this.
Yes.
Take 2. Derek.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. You're the community director. I'm looking. I'm thinking he was sitting there before. What happened?
I definitely Sean's a much better looking.
And
guy,
you're the veterans, and you're with the Veterans Trust. So tell me, as the community director, what your job is and how you're tied to the Human Baton in this event.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Veterans Trust is a foundation that understands clearly that we are not the subject matter experts in treating veterans and first responders. And we believe that, when there's people who know what they're doing, they do it well. We want to make sure that they're connected, they're resourced, that they know each other. So as a foundation, we really want to be that connective tissue between all the amazing foundations, all the amazing work that's being done to support veterans and first responders. So the Veterans Trust uses kind of what Philip was talking about, right? The shiny piece of sport, in our case, motorsports, as that piece that attracts veterans to a location where we could put them in a race car, we could set them around the track, but it's not just about the racing aspect. It's all about the foundations and the other people that come to participate, so that when we get our veterans and first responders to show up at a motorsport facility, they know what else is out there for them. They know what other resources are available to them. And so that's how the Veterans Trust got involved in the Human Baton. It's making sure that, you know, we want the nice, shiny, bright, exciting, exhilarating aspect, but we want to make sure that we get people out of their houses into the community to find out about TopGun Foundation, to find out about the Health Foundation, right? Because we want to make sure that those people have access to those resources. As a director of community, my role is to encourage folks to volunteer, to serve those who've served, and to create those opportunities and manage an influx of volunteers, because it's going to take a lot of hands to pull off this event. And so that's what I'm here today for.
So how would someone who wanted to volunteer, how would they get in touch with you?
TheVeteransTrust.org. TheVeteransTrust.org is the website. There will be a link to register to be a volunteer, and we'll be in communication and giving you tons of information and letting you know exactly where to be when in order to help. There's a list of varying positions. So if you're more inclined to sit at a registration table, then that's an opportunity for you. If you want to be on the beach, then there'll be an opportunity for you to volunteer there at the beach for crowd control. So we want to make it as accessible as possible for the community to participate in this event, not just from a spectator role, but also being in a supportive role as well. One of the things, about veterans in general, I think is a general thing, we get the concept of service and serving others. And so there's a therapeutic aspect of being able to give back and to be useful in that regard.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Brett Williamson. Okay, the human baton. He doesn't look like a human baton to me, but okay.
What do you mean? I could be a human baton. Anybody can be a human baton.
So tell me what that entails. Is what's happening in this action? Is it going to be just over South Florida? Is it go further on out from here?
Well, let's start with the 9/11 event. So we are actually going to land tandem skydivers on the beach in front of Las Olas Oceanside Park. And then they will transition out of their gear and into their race gear, where they will transition to a drift car that drifts around Las Olas Park 2 times. And then from there, they transition to GT sports cars, and they go down A1A, SR A1A Avenue, and then make a turn at the W Hotel, and then come back to Las Olas Park. And then from there, they'll transition from the GT supercar onto a boat race that's going on in the ocean in front of.
So it's basically going to stay in the Fort Lauderdale area. It's not going to go any further out for this particular human baton.
For the 9/11 event.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that our race series can't come back to South Florida, and
you can come back. They want you back
and do a large scale event.
This seems pretty large to me.
And the great part is we really love Florida. So
I couldn't tell. Look at that smile on your face.
We've been received so well with the community, the city's governments, and all of these things, and we really love coming here. And it's been an absolute pleasure so far.
Where are y'all from?
California. The heart of entertainment.
Pardon?
Angelinos.
Yeah, the heart of entertainment.
I'm from here in Miami. Even though I have a New York accent. I was born in Brooklyn, but just long enough to get the accent. But I moved to Miami as a kid.
Well, I'll never call you Sean, I promise. Derek.
Farah, if I can throw something in here.
Please do.
After listening to all of us speak earlier, I think I want to clarify. The actual 9/11 event is called A Tribute to America's Heroes. The Tribute to America's Heroes. And the Human Baton is supporting that event by the format that Brett just described. We're bringing that demo version of that to the Fort Lauderdale area, so that at the park, Las Olas Park area, when we are approved by the city commission, that we will give that demo at the 9/11 event and have a stage program and have a commemoration event surrounded by the demo elements that Brett described. So the Human Baton Race, the large trailer that we just saw, the 500 square mile, big, giant, shiny object, as Phil likes to call it, is the big one that we would like to come back to, once we've established a community approval and partnerships and stakeholders, the community's involvement. So that's our goal.
What does this mean to you?
This means that this is an opportunity for us to drive community engagement at a very important time. As Phil pointed out, the 20 years later, people that weren't even born are now getting attention to be able to see what we all had experienced, the reasons that we do what we do currently. This means an opportunity for us to share a message, to bring community together, to be able to show them through our story, the stories we tell, how to tell stories at a whole new level, through adventure, through your general lifestyle, through the community. I mean, we want to bring opportunity every place we go.
Absolutely. And what does it mean to you, Steve?
Personally?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be
personally.
Brett, would
Personally.
Okay, me personally.
Mhm.
I'm a storyteller. I'm also very heartfelt and driven about the people around me. And I want to change lives in a very positive way. I want to leave a footprint or a legacy that says, I can do what those people did, and I can do it just as easily. And I want to show people that just by believing and giving it your all, you can accomplish what you want to accomplish, no matter what the chips look like against you.
Brett, what does this mean to you as a totality of an event, bringing people something like a pet? It's really a passion. From all of you guys, it's just been, I just feel it. It just oozes out of you.
Absolutely.
It's like, it blows me away. And I am humbled and honored.
Oh, thank you for that.
But that's enough about me. What about you, Brett? About me?
The easiest way for me to describe what it feels for me is the give back, because the Human Baton is all about changing lives through adventure. And we are an impact entertainment company. We create events that draw people in with the excitement and the stickiness of a really cool, fun event. But while we're doing that, we're teaming up with the city, we're teaming up with local nonprofits, we're teaming up with local businesses so that we can leave resources and enrichment for the community when we leave. And that way, when we come back, it's a better place. And then we do that again, and then it's a better place. And it just continues to magnify and get better as we go. And
bringing a community together, one person at a time, one event at a time, is really, I think, just so important, especially nowadays with being isolated with COVID and what we've experienced with our heroes in the communities.
Absolutely.
Derek, I promise I won't call you Sean. I keep saying that.
That's right.
But what does the project mean to you? And if you can put it into words.
Yeah. I joined the military in 2004. I joined the Army knowing that I was going to go to war at some point in time, right? I mean, by this point, Iraq had just started off and things like that. So, but there were a lot of experiences and a lot of memories that I had that were mine alone. And, I joined with a small family. My wife and my daughter was 3 years old. My son was born a year after I joined. And getting out of the military 11 years later, realizing that I had an entire career of memories that my family just didn't know. And so what this project means to me is the opportunity to create new memories, to create new bonds. The fact that we're creating an opportunity for families to share an exciting story. It was lonely sitting at the dinner table because they were having their experiences with school and with field trips and things of that nature. And then there was things that I was experiencing. And there was a lot of disconnect and a lot of distance because we weren't able to laugh and joke about the same things. But by creating events like this, where veterans, first responders can come out and families can come together and have a day with each other, we're creating that opportunity for a conversation to take place at the dinner table, where they're going to be able to say, how cool is that boat? And everyone around the table is going to know exactly that moment where they experienced that together. And so we just want to create multiple experiences like that.
So
over and
together,
over.
together and not alone.
Correct.
Anything I've missed? Anything you want to, any last words you want to share?
I want to say thanks for having us here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fara, you're awesome.
Yeah, you're coming out, right?
I know.
And we're inviting everybody to come out if you're watching.
Yes.
Absolutely. And please, this is a community event. This is not just for the 7 of us here. And we want the participation of the community, and the outreach is really important, whether you're a support role, volunteer. Again, just give me some numbers or websites or information. Anybody want to jump in?
The veteranstrust.org.
Veteranstrust.org.
Veteranstrust.org will have all the information folks need, as well as a contact form. They could put their contact information in there, and someone from the team will reach out to them. We're a local community. The Veterans Trust Foundation is members from West Palm all the way down to Homestead. We live here, we work here, we raise our family here. So we really want to just make sure that this community thrives, and we want to, show off some really, really cool events and what South Florida has to offer. So we're really excited to be able to have this exhibition and have these amazing partners.
And I'd welcome you guys from California back again. I want to thank you for the time. And I appreciate this. And I wish you much love, success, and heart. And you're doing a great job for our community. And thank you for bringing us together, and for our veterans and our heroes to not feel alone.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you all for joining. I'm Fara Sax, and this has been The Community Voice. Thank you.